Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Quotes 365. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you give, it's never enough? You bend over backward, prioritize their happiness, and try to prove your worth. But instead of appreciation, all you get is being taken for granted. It's exhausting, isn't it? That endless cycle of giving more and more while hoping, just hoping, that they'll finally see your value. But instead, they drift further, making you feel invisible, unimportant, and replaceable. If that's hitting close to home, you're not alone. And let me tell you something, folks, it's not your fault. You're operating under a flawed belief that the harder you try, the more someone will value you. But here's the hard truth. Value isn't something you can force. People don't respect what they don't have to work for. They don't admire what's always available. And they definitely don't prioritize what's chasing after them. But what if I told you there's a better way? A way to shift the dynamic entirely, not by chasing, begging, or explaining yourself, but by stepping into your own quiet power. Today, we're diving into 7 silent actions that will transform how people see you and, more importantly, how you see yourself. These actions aren't about manipulation or playing games. They're rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and the undeniable truths of human psychology. Folks, you're here because you're tired of feeling like an afterthought. You're ready to reclaim your power, to stand tall, and to let others see your worth without saying a single word. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle today. These actions are subtle yet profound. They require no words, no confrontations, just a quiet confidence that speaks volumes. Now, let's get real for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the people who are most respected, most valued, are often the ones who don't go out of their way to seek attention? They don't plead for validation or try to prove their worth to others. Instead, they embody it. They radiate a kind of calm, unshakable presence that naturally draws people in. That's the energy we're going to help you cultivate. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Let me add to that, the way others value you depends on the quality of your actions, especially the silent ones. Because silence, when done right, isn't passive. It's powerful. It's the foundation of self-respect, of boundaries, and of a presence so strong that people can't help but take notice. Here's what we'll be diving into today. First, we'll explore why chasing is the quickest way to lose respect, and how adopting the mindset of attraction changes everything. We'll discuss how understanding your worth, like a rare gem, shifts the way others perceive you. From there, we'll talk about why actions matter far more than words, and how mastering nonverbal communication can elevate your interactions. You'll also learn how to set boundaries without even speaking, embrace change with grace, and unlock the power of saying no, all through quiet yet impactful actions. But before we jump in, let me leave you with this. You're not here to convince anyone of your worth. You're here to live in a way that shows it. These silent actions aren't just steps. They're a way of being. And once you master them, folks, you'll notice a shift, not just in how others treat you, but in how you treat yourself. Are you ready to unlock your silent power and make anyone value you effortlessly? Let's get started. Number 1, never chase, always attract. Hey folks, let's start with one of the most powerful silent actions. Never chase, always attract. Have you ever felt like the more you try to grab someone's attention, the less they notice you? You send the texts, make the calls, rearrange your schedule, all in the hope they'll finally see your worth. But instead, they pull further away. It's exhausting, right? And here's the hard truth. Chasing doesn't work. It doesn't make someone value you. It only makes them value you less. Think about it. People are wired to respect what they have to earn, not what's handed to them on a silver platter. When you chase, you're sending the message that their validation matters more than your self-respect. That's not the kind of energy that attracts others. It's the kind that pushes them away. But when you stop chasing, something incredible happens. You reclaim your power, your focus, and your confidence. And that's when people start noticing you. Here's the shift you need to make. Instead of pouring your energy into chasing someone who barely gives you the time of day, redirect that energy inward. Invest it in yourself, your growth, your goals, your happiness. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about valuing yourself enough to not beg for attention. Folks, when you stop chasing, you make space for others to come to you. And believe me, they will. Imagine this scenario. You're always the one initiating conversations, planning meetups, and going the extra mile to keep someone's interest. But then, one day, you step back. You stop texting first. You focus on your own life. At first, they might not notice. But soon, they start to wonder, why aren't they reaching out? What's going on with them? That curiosity is the beginning of a shift. They start to realize that your presence wasn't something to take for granted. It was a privilege. Now, this doesn't mean playing hard to get or manipulating anyone. It's about letting your actions communicate what words can't. That you value yourself too much to chase what isn't freely given. Folks, this is where true confidence comes in. You don't need to prove your worth because you already know it. And when you carry yourself with that energy, people can't help but be drawn to you. Here's something practical you can do today. The next time you feel the urge to send that extra message or explain yourself to someone who isn't reciprocating, pause. Ask yourself, am I acting from a place of confidence or a place of insecurity? If it's insecurity, take a step back. Redirect that energy towards something that fulfills you. Whether it's a personal goal, a hobby, or even just taking time for yourself. When you prioritize your own well-being, you naturally become more attractive to others. Let's make this a community effort. Write this in the comments. I attract, I don't chase. By sharing this, you're not just committing to yourself, you're inspiring others to do the same. And if this resonates with you, folks, hit that subscribe button to stay connected. Here on Stoic Relationships, we explore more ways to reclaim your power and build relationships based on mutual respect. Before we move on, let me leave you with this. Chasing is exhausting, but attracting? That's effortless. When you stop running after people and start standing tall in your own worth, the dynamic changes. You're no longer begging for scraps of attention. You're commanding respect. So take that first step today. Let your actions speak for themselves and watch how the world responds. And folks, this is just the beginning. The next silent action will build on this foundation and take your understanding of self-worth even deeper. Stay with me, because every step we take together is bringing you closer to the respect and value you deserve. Number 2, know your worth like a rare gem. Hey folks, let's talk about something that so many people struggle with but rarely acknowledge. Knowing your worth. Not just any kind of worth, though your worth as if you're a rare gem, one of a kind and irreplaceable. Because here's the thing, if you don't see your own value, how can you expect anyone else to? Think about it. When you see a rare gem in a museum or a high-end store, it's displayed with care, isn't it? It's placed behind glass, under the perfect lighting, with security guards ensuring no one mishandles it. Why? Because it's precious. It's irreplaceable. No one questions its worth because it's obvious. Now let me ask you, are you treating yourself like that rare gem, or are you letting people walk into your life and treat you like an afterthought? Folks, Knowing your worth isn't about arrogance or thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about recognizing the unique qualities you bring to the table, qualities that no one else can replicate. When you see yourself this way, you start to act differently. You stop settling for less. You stop accepting behavior that undermines your value. And most importantly, you start to attract people and opportunities that align with the respect you deserve. Let's get practical. Start by asking yourself, what makes me unique? What do I bring to a relationship, a friendship, or even my work? Maybe it's your kindness, your ability to make others feel heard, or the way you approach challenges with resilience. Whatever it is, take a moment to own it. Write it down if you need to. Because when you're clear about what you bring to the table, you're less likely to accept people who don't appreciate it. Here's another way to look at it. Imagine you're holding that rare gem in your hands. Would you hand it over to just anyone? Would you let someone toss it around carelessly? Or would you make sure they understood its value before letting them near it? The same goes for your time, your energy, and your heart. When you truly know your worth, you become more selective, not in a guarded way, but in a way that honors the unique value you bring to the world. Now, I get it. This can be tough, especially if you've spent years letting others define your value. Maybe you've been in relationships or situations where you felt undervalued or overlooked. But here's the good news, folks. Your worth isn't determined by how others treat you. It's determined by how you treat yourself. The moment you start valuing yourself, others will follow suit. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Every time you feel someone isn't appreciating your worth, pause and ask yourself, am I acting like the rare gem that I am? Or am I allowing myself to be treated like something replaceable? If it's the latter, it's time to step back, reset, and remind yourself of the value you bring. And folks, let's make this interactive. Share one thing in the comments that makes you unique. Something you're proud of. Let's celebrate each other's worth and build a community of rare gems right here. And if you're finding this message resonates with you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more insights on how to live confidently and authentically. Here's the final thought I want to leave you with for this section. A rare gem doesn't beg to be admired. It simply exists, and its brilliance speaks for itself. When you start seeing yourself as that gem, your entire perspective shifts. You stop trying to prove your value, and you start living it. And trust me, folks, the world notices when someone carries themselves with that kind of quiet confidence. Stay with me, because the next silent action is going to help you take what you've learned here and put it into action. Together, we're building a foundation of respect, one step at a time. Number 3, watch actions, not words. Hey folks, let's talk about something crucial when it comes to understanding others and protecting your own worth. Watching actions, not words. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's words sounded perfect, but their actions didn't match? Maybe they promised to show up for you, but they never did. Or perhaps they said they cared, but their behavior told a completely different story. It's frustrating, isn't it? And here's the truth. Words are easy. Actions, on the other hand, are where someone's true intentions are revealed. Think about it. Words can be crafted, rehearsed, and manipulated. But actions are authentic. They require effort, commitment, and follow through. When someone's actions align with their words, it shows integrity. But when there's a gap, folks, it's a red flag. And the bigger that gap, the louder the message. What they're saying and what they're doing aren't the same. Let's dive into why this matters. Too often, we get caught up in what we want to believe. We hear someone's promises or kind words, and we cling to them, even when their actions consistently let us down. Why? because it's easier to hold on to the hope of their words than to confront the reality of their behavior. But folks, the hard truth is this: actions will always tell you the truth, even when words try to deceive you. Here's an example. Let's say someone in your life keeps saying, "I'll change, I'll do better." At first, it's comforting to hear those words. But weeks go by and nothing changes. Their actions remain the same. What's more important in that moment? What they said or what they did? You already know the answer. It's the actions that matter, because they reveal the effort, or lack thereof, behind their promises. This principle isn't just about calling out others. It's also about how you value yourself. When you start paying closer attention to actions, you protect your energy and set a standard for how you deserve to be treated. Folks, someone who values you won't just say it. They'll show it. And if they're not showing it, it's a sign to reevaluate their place in your life. Here's what you can do to put this into practice. The next time someone tells you something important, pause. Instead of getting swept up in their words, take a moment to observe their actions. Ask yourself, does their behavior align with what they're saying? Are they putting in the effort to back up their promises? If the answer is no, it's time to stop giving those words so much weight. And folks, this isn't just about relationships. It applies to every area of life. Your friendships, your workplace, and even your own goals. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," but your actions didn't follow through? Just as we hold others accountable, we need to hold ourselves accountable too. Remember, actions aren't just a reflection of someone else's integrity. They're a reflection of our own. Let's make this a moment of reflection. In the comments, share a time when someone's actions told you the truth, even if their words didn't. What did you learn from that experience? Your story might inspire someone else in this community to trust their instincts and focus on actions over words. And if you're finding value in this, folks, hit that subscribe button. By joining us, you're taking a step toward becoming more intentional in how you live and how you approach relationships. This is your space to grow, reflect, and connect with like-minded individuals. Before we move on, let me leave you with this. Words can be beautiful, but they're also fleeting. Actions are undeniable. When you start watching what people do rather than just listening to what they say, you'll find clarity, strength, and the ability to surround yourself with those who truly respect you. So, folks, stay with me. The next silent action builds on this principle and takes it to another level. We're just getting started, and there's so much more ahead. Number 4, master nonverbal communication. Hey folks, let's talk about something that speaks louder than words. Nonverbal communication. Whether you realize it or not, every movement, every expression, and even your silence is sending a message. The way you carry yourself, the way you make eye contact, and even the way you handle pauses in a conversation can shape how others perceive you. Mastering this silent language is one of the most powerful skills you can develop, and it can completely transform your relationships. Think about it. Have you ever noticed someone who walks into a room and instantly commands attention without even saying a word? It's not magic. It's their posture, their presence, and the way they make others feel through their non-verbal cues. These subtle signals create a sense of confidence and respect that words alone could never achieve. It starts with your posture. Standing tall, shoulders back, and head held high doesn't just make you look confident. It makes you feel confident, even when you're nervous. Adopting a strong posture can trick your brain into believing you're in control. It's a small shift that can have a huge impact on how you're perceived. Then there's eye contact. Folks, maintaining steady eye contact is one of the simplest ways to show confidence and respect. It tells the person you're speaking with that you're present, that you value what they're saying. But here's the key: it needs to feel natural. Too much eye contact can come across as intimidating, while too little can make you seem disengaged. The sweet spot: look them in the eye just long enough to connect, then let it flow naturally. And let's not forget the power of silence. Sometimes, the most impactful thing you can do in a conversation is pause. Silence shows composure. It gives weight to your words and lets others feel the space between them. When you're comfortable with silence, folks, it sends a powerful message. I'm confident enough to let my presence speak for itself. Nonverbal communication also includes the way you move your hands. Intentional gestures can emphasize your words and make your message more compelling. But keep them purposeful. Too much movement can be distracting, while too little can make you seem stiff. Find that balance and let your gestures flow naturally with your words. Here's the beautiful thing about nonverbal communication: it's authentic. Unlike words, which can sometimes be rehearsed, your body language reveals your true intentions, and when your actions align with your words, you create a level of trust and respect that's impossible to fake. So here's something to think about, folks. What does your nonverbal communication say about you? Are you slouching, crossing your arms, or avoiding eye contact? Or are you presenting yourself as someone confident, approachable, and in control? Pay attention to the signals you're sending, because they're shaping how others perceive you, whether you realize it or not. Take this moment to affirm your growth. Drop a simple "I'm in control" in the comments and make a commitment to owning your silent power. And if this is resonating with you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tools to help you build stronger, more meaningful connections. Now, don't go anywhere. Folks, stay with me, because the next silent action is packed with insights that you'll definitely want to hear. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Number 5. Set boundaries without words. Hey folks, let's dive into one of the most transformative silent actions you can take: setting boundaries without saying a word. This isn't about confrontation or explaining yourself endlessly. It's about letting your presence and actions show others where the line is and making sure they respect it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone crossed a line and you didn't know how to react? Maybe they drained your time, pushed your limits, or ignored your needs entirely. It's frustrating, isn't it? But here's the truth. Boundaries aren't just a preference, they're a necessity. They're how you protect your energy, preserve your dignity, and define your worth. And here's the beauty of it. Boundaries don't always need words. Often, the most powerful boundaries are the ones you set through silence and action. Let me share something profound with you. When you start valuing yourself, others begin to sense your boundaries without you even having to say them. Imagine walking into a room with quiet confidence, carrying yourself with self-respect, and staying firm in your decisions. That energy says everything. It tells people, I know my worth, and I won't accept anything less than respect. And here's the best part. When you exude that energy, most people will respect it naturally. But let's be real. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to saying yes to everything and everyone. You might worry about upsetting others or being seen as selfish. But, folks, here's a shift in perspective. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're an act of self-respect. They're a declaration that your time, energy, and well-being matter. For example, think about how you use your time. If you're constantly available for other people's demands, what message does that send? It tells them that your time isn't valuable. But when you start saying no to things that don't align with your priorities, you're silently communicating, my time is precious, and I'm in control of how I use it. And here's the magic. You don't need to justify it. A calm, polite no is enough. Energy is another powerful boundary. We all know people who seem to drain the life out of us. Maybe it's a coworker who constantly complains, or a friend who only calls when they need something. You don't need to confront them to set a boundary. Instead, simply pull back. Limit your interactions and focus on relationships that uplift you. Folks, not everyone deserves unlimited access to your energy. Protect it, and let's not underestimate the role of body language. The way you carry yourself speaks volumes. Standing tall, maintaining eye contact, and keeping your movements purposeful show confidence. Compare that to slouching or fidgeting. It sends a message of uncertainty, inviting others to push your limits. Body language is a silent yet powerful way to assert your boundaries without a single word. Now, here's something practical for you to try. Think about an area in your life where your boundaries are being tested. It could be work, a relationship, or even your social commitments. Instead of explaining or arguing, set a silent boundary. Say no calmly. Pull back your availability. Adjust your body language to reflect confidence. Then observe how people respond. It's often surprising how much shifts when you simply hold your ground. Folks, let's affirm this together. Drop a quick "I respect myself" in the comments. It's a simple statement, but a powerful commitment to your own well-being. And if this is resonating with you, hit that subscribe button to stay connected. There's so much more to explore together. And don't go anywhere. Stay with me, because the next silent action will deepen your understanding of personal power. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Number 6. Embrace change with grace. Hey folks, let's talk about something that everyone faces, yet so many struggle with: change. Change is inevitable, isn't it? Life throws curveballs, relationships evolve, circumstances shift. And while you can't stop change, you can control how you respond to it. The secret lies in embracing it, not with resistance or fear, but with grace. Now, let's get honest. Change can feel overwhelming. It can bring uncertainty, loss, and a sense of imbalance. You might cling to what's familiar, hoping things will stay the same, but deep down, you know they won't. Here's the truth. Folks, resisting change only prolongs the discomfort. But when you lean into it, when you accept that change is a natural part of growth, it transforms you. Think of it this way. Imagine standing in a river. The current flows steadily, carrying everything forward. If you resist, trying to stand still or swim upstream, you'll exhaust yourself. But if you flow with it, letting the water guide you, it becomes easier. That's what embracing change with grace looks like. It's not about giving up. It's about adapting and growing stronger in the process. One of the most powerful tools for embracing change is shifting your mindset. Folks, change isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Every change, even the challenging ones, carries a lesson. Maybe it's teaching you resilience. Maybe it's pushing you to let go of something no longer serving you. Or maybe it's opening the door to opportunities you couldn't see before. When you start seeing change as an ally, not an enemy, your perspective shifts, and so does your ability to handle it. Let me share a story. Imagine someone who's just lost their job. At first, it feels like the end of the world. Fear, frustration, and uncertainty set in. But over time, they realize it's an opportunity to pursue something they're truly passionate about, to reset their priorities, and to create a life that aligns with their values. That's the grace of embracing change. It doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending everything is fine. It means finding the strength to grow through it. Another key to navigating change is focusing on what you can control. Folks, Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control your attitude, your choices, and your actions. By focusing on what's within your power, you ground yourself in the midst of uncertainty. And let's not forget the importance of patience. Change doesn't happen overnight, and neither does growth. It's a process, sometimes slow, sometimes uncomfortable, but always worth it. Give yourself permission to take it one step at a time. Folks, grace isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Here's something practical for you to try. The next time you're faced with change, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What can I control in this situation? Write it down if it helps. Then, take one small step forward, whether it's adjusting your mindset, letting go of what's holding you back, or embracing a new opportunity. Over time, those small steps add up to big transformations. Let's make this a community effort. Drop a quick "I grow stronger" in the comments. It's a simple affirmation, but a powerful reminder that you can handle whatever comes your way. And if this resonates with you, hit the subscribe button. Together, we'll keep exploring ways to navigate life's changes with confidence and purpose. And don't go anywhere. Stay with me, because the next silent action will tie everything together, helping you fully embrace your power and potential. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Number 7, the power of saying no. Hey folks, let's talk about a skill that sounds so simple, but can be one of the hardest things to master. The power of saying no. At first glance, it might not seem like a big deal. But let me tell you, knowing when and how to say no is one of the most empowering actions you can take for yourself. It's not just about refusing requests or setting limits. It's about reclaiming your time, energy, and self-worth. Have you ever said yes to something when every fiber of your being was screaming no? Maybe you agreed to take on extra work when you were already overwhelmed. Or you said yes to plans you didn't want to join, just to avoid disappointing someone. Folks, we've all been there. And while saying yes might feel easier in the moment, the long-term cost can be high: burnout, resentment, and the feeling that your own needs don't matter. The truth is, every time you say yes to something you don't truly want, you're saying no to yourself. Think about that for a second. Your time and energy are finite resources. When you give them away carelessly, you're left with less for the things that truly matter: your goals, your passions, your well-being. Learning to say no isn't about being selfish. It's about being intentional. Let's start by understanding why saying no can feel so difficult. For many of us, it's rooted in the fear of disappointing others. We don't want to seem rude, unhelpful, or unkind. But folks, here's a mindset shift for you. Saying no isn't about rejecting people. It's about respecting yourself. When you say no thoughtfully and confidently, you're setting a standard for how others treat you. And most people, when they see that you value your time, will respect it. Saying no also allows you to say yes to the things that truly matter. Imagine a life where every commitment you make aligns with your values and priorities. Doesn't that sound freeing? That's the kind of life you create when you embrace the power of no. It's not about closing doors. It's about opening the right ones. Let me give you an example. Think about someone who always says yes, no matter what. They're constantly overcommitted, running from one obligation to the next. How do they come across? Probably overwhelmed, scattered, and maybe even a little resentful. Now think about someone who knows their limits. They say yes when it truly matters, and no when it doesn't align with their priorities. They come across as focused, intentional, and in control. Which person do you want to be? Now, here's the part where many people get stuck. How do you actually say no without feeling guilty? Folks, it's all about clarity and confidence. You don't owe anyone a long explanation or an apology. A simple, polite no is often enough. For example, If someone asks you to do something you can't commit to, try saying, "I appreciate you asking, but I'm unable to take that on right now." That's it. No excuses, no overthinking. Of course, there are situations where saying no might feel more complicated, like with family or close friends. In these cases, it's helpful to express gratitude while still holding your boundary. For example, "I'd love to help, but I need to focus on my own priorities at the moment." This way, you're acknowledging their request without sacrificing your own needs. Another key to mastering the power of no is practicing self-awareness. Folks, you need to know your limits before you can enforce them. Take a moment to reflect on where your time and energy are going. Are there commitments draining you that no longer serve your goals? Are you saying yes out of obligation instead of desire? Once you identify these patterns, it becomes easier to set boundaries. Here's a practical exercise for you. Over the next week, pay attention to every time someone asks you for something. Before you respond, pause and ask yourself, is this something I truly want to do? Does it align with my priorities? If the answer is no, practice saying no, politely but firmly. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And folks, let's not forget the role of body language. When you say no, your tone and posture matter just as much as your words. Stand tall, make eye contact, and speak with calm confidence. This reinforces your message and helps you come across as self-assured. Here's another thing to keep in mind. Saying no isn't just about setting boundaries with others. It's also about setting boundaries with yourself. How many times have you overcommitted because you couldn't say no to your own impulses? Maybe you took on too many goals at once, or said yes to things out of FOMO, fear of missing out. Learning to say no to yourself is just as important as saying no to others. It's about recognizing what truly serves your growth and letting go of the rest. Now, let's make this a conversation. Drop a quick "I choose me" in the comments. It's a powerful reminder that your time, energy, and well-being come first. And folks, if this message is resonating with you, hit that subscribe button. Together, we'll continue exploring ways to live with confidence, purpose, and clarity. Here's the final takeaway I want you to hold on to. Saying no is an act of strength. It's not about rejection, it's about direction. When you master the power of no, you're not just protecting your time and energy, you're creating space for the things that truly matter. So start practicing today, folks. Your future self will thank you. Thank you for staying with me, folks. I hope these 7 silent actions have given you not just insights, but the tools to step into your own power with quiet confidence. Remember, true value isn't something you chase, it's something you live. When you master these principles, you're not just building stronger relationships, you're transforming how the world sees and respects you. Take a moment to reflect on what resonated with you the most. Was it the importance of setting boundaries, the power of saying no, or maybe embracing change with grace? Whatever it was, I encourage you to start applying it today. Change doesn't happen all at once, but every small step matters. If you found value in this video, drop a quick "I'm ready" in the comments. Let's make it a declaration of your commitment to this journey. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Join us here at Stoic Relationships, where we explore more ways to grow, connect, and thrive in every aspect of life. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Remember, folks, your value doesn't come from what others think. It comes from how you carry yourself. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep living with purpose. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.